This year's walking tour features the Reverend Daniel Jones, who lived in Salem for less than 10 years in the late 1860s and early 1870s. In this short time, he made a big difference in the community, breaking barriers and advocating for racial equality. Much of what we know about the Reverend Jones, including his portrait, comes from a biography published in an 1887 book. Thanks to this publication, we know that Jones was born in 1830 in Reading, Pennsylvania, to Henry and Catherine Jones. Daniel's father, Henry, had escaped his enslavers in Maryland before coming to Pennsylvania to start a family, which included Daniel and his 7 siblings. Daniel Jones left his home at age 10 and moved to Philadelphia, where he trained as a barber. When he was 17, he became a sailor, which took him to ports in the Deep South, where slavery was alive and well, and men of color could not go out after a certain time of night. His biography tells of one harrowing night where he had to race back to his ship to avoid capture by patrols. The discovery of gold at Sutter's Mill in California caught young Daniel's attention. In 1849, he became a 49er and set sail aboard the clipper the Gray Eagle to the gold fields of California. The trip would take 131 days to reach San Francisco. Jones was one of many black men who went to seek his fortune in California. He worked the gold fields of California and Southern Oregon, eventually settling in the town of Jacksonville in Southern Oregon and opening up a barbershop and laundry. Sometime around his settling in Jacksonville, he met the woman who would become his wife, Anne. Frustratingly little has been found about her life story. In the archives of the Southern Oregon Historical Society, there's a beautiful portrait of a woman by famed Southern Oregon photographer Peter Britt. It is super tempting to think that this woman might be Anne Jones, based on the fact that in the 1860 census, the Jones family is enumerated living just one household away from Peter Britt. But there's no way to prove the connection beyond supposition. Together, Anne and Daniel Jones would have 4 children, 2 boys, Eugene and Daniel, and a girl, only known by the initials she's counted by in the 1870 federal census, C.E. A 4th child is mentioned in his biography, but has yet to be traced in any other source. At the height of the Civil War, Daniel Jones registered for the draft in Crescent City, California, where the family had moved for his health. By the time the events we celebrate on Juneteenth occurred in 1865, the family was living in Salem. In Salem, Jones opened a barbershop on State Street. Frustrated by a lack of educational opportunities for his children, who were denied entry to Salem's public schools because of the color of their skin, he joined with other black families in Salem to fundraise, open, and administer their own school. Interested in his own education, Jones enrolled in a preparatory program at Willamette University, attending classes for 2 years, and, at least according to his biography, becoming the school's first black student. Jones also became a Methodist minister and planted a church in 1871 at the corner of High and Marion Streets. Through his ministerial work, he was transferred by the church first to New Jersey and eventually to Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. While back east, he continued to represent Oregon, being the delegate from the state to several national civil rights conventions, including the 1873 convention in Washington, D.C., where he was in very good company, meeting with folks like Frederick Douglass and John Mercer Langston, and all 7 of the African-American congressmen then serving. In addition to his religious duties, Jones continued to advocate for civil rights and education until his death in 1891. He served on the endowment committee of the Central Tennessee College, an HBCU in Nashville, and lobbied the Kentucky State Legislature on education policy. He edited a local newspaper and served as a correspondent for others. His biographer wrote of him, "His pen and his voice are never silent." This tour will take you to places we know Daniel Jones lived, worked, studied, worshipped, and celebrated in Salem, Oregon. With few exceptions, all of the structures he would have known no longer exist. But we hope by following in his footsteps, we can honor his memory, experiences, and legacy.